You know nothing, probably. I have two hands, I can see them, I can feel them, and I can pick things up with them. But how do I know they're real? And can I truly prove it? This might sound absurd, but for the philosopher Rene Descartes, this question was very serious. Descartes developed a method known as radical skepticism, or Cartesian doubt, where he systematically questioned everything he believed in order to find something that he could be absolutely certain of. In his book Meditations on First Philosophy, he began by doubting all of his beliefs, because if a belief can be doubted, even slightly, then it wasn't reliable enough to base knowledge on. From this doubt, he arrived at his most famous conclusion: cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Even if everything else is an illusion, the very act of doubting proves that we exist, because thinking requires a thinker. This process wasn't just philosophical gymnastics, it was a tool. Descartes wanted to tear down everything uncertain so he could build knowledge on a foundation that could not be shaken. So to do this, he offered 3 arguments to challenge how much we really know. The first was the perceptual illusion. Our senses can deceive us. A straight stick may appear bent in water. Our visual systems do not judge size in absolute terms. They can be misled by the placement of surrounding objects, showing just how easily our perception can be distorted. So, if we can't trust our senses, our main way of interacting with the world, how can we trust the world itself? The second was the dreaming argument. Sometimes dreams can feel completely real, so Descartes asked, how do we know that we're not dreaming right now? And I must say, if you are dreaming right now, I thank you for dreaming of me. So if we can't tell the difference between being awake and being asleep, then how can we be certain of what we're experiencing? The third is the evil demon hypothesis. This is the most extreme but also the most compelling argument in my eyes. Descartes imagined an all-powerful demon bent on deceiving him, manipulating his thoughts, perceptions, and even his sense of logic. So if we can't rule out the possibility that we are constantly being deceived, then how can we really claim to know anything? Fast forward to today. We don't talk about demons much, but they do exist, and there are far more powerful forces shaping our reality. Think about AI. In just a few short years, it's gone from a distant concept to something that is embedded in nearly every part of our lives, our browsers, phones, and even in our classrooms. Kids are using it to write essays, companies and governments are using it to make decisions, and most of us don't fully understand how it works or even where it came from. Sure, we hear names like Sam Altman or Elon Musk, but the technology itself just feels like it arrived. And now it's everywhere, making suggestions, filtering what we see, and even finishing our own thoughts. That's a lot of power, and it seems to be growing unchecked. And while AI itself may not be evil yet, those controlling it might be. And with this power comes the ability to shape the flow of information, often without us even realizing. So if we don't understand it, and we can't always detect its influence, how can we fully trust the reality it presents to us? As we've seen over the last 5 years or so, the so-called media aren't really worried about presenting us the truth. They're more concerned with controlling the narrative, and when people step out of line, they try and silence them. And there is now so much information available that people can find justification for believing both sides of almost any argument. Whether that be about war, vaccines, or immigration, there is always a story out there to appease everyone. People are now so focused on the symptoms that they haven't stopped to look at what is causing the disease. In this way, we have built our own evil demons. They don't lie to us directly. They flood us with carefully constructed narratives and little truths saying you must believe this because I say it so. This leads to things like echo chambers, where alternative views are often filtered out. And when that happens, our trust in what we believe and what we read, and even what we believe in starts to erode. In this landscape, Cartesian doubt actually seems to be rather appealing. We're constantly questioning what's real and what's manipulated. But herein lies a danger. If we doubt everything, we risk falling into nihilism, asserting that nothing is true and that there are no genuine moral truths or values. Now, this is not healthy, and this isn't what Descartes wanted. What we need is balanced skepticism, one that encourages us to question the world, but also teaches us how to look for evidence, weigh arguments carefully, and to stay open to changing our minds. That's where critical thinking, media literacy, and philosophical inquiry come in. These tools help us navigate uncertainty, filter out misinformation, and build beliefs that are not just reactive but also resilient. When you hear a claim, break it down to its core and rebuild it. Ask yourself, does this actually make sense, and does it hold up to scrutiny? Be skeptical, but don't be cynical, and never be gullible. Be skeptical, but don't be stupid. So, back to my hands. Yes, I can see them, and yes, I can feel them, but no, I can't prove beyond all doubt that they're real. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is to keep asking questions, not to paralyze ourselves with doubt, but to move forward with curiosity, humility, and awareness, because these demons do exist, and they would rather have us squabbling amongst ourselves than looking at the bigger picture. And with that, let me leave you with these words from Charles Baudelaire. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing the world that he didn't exist. Well, thank you for watching and for joining me at the start of what I hope will be a long and adventurous journey. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it thought-provoking, because someone has to, and it may as well be you. And until next time, remember this: one day we will all be stardust. So until then, you may as well subscribe.